Hi, everybody. Today, I invited our special guest, Mr. Georgie from IB department. He is our film teacher, and he is going to introduce his favorite movies to our careful students. First of all, Mr. Georgie, would you like to say a few words to our careful student, please?
Hello, Gafflians. My name is Mr. Georgie. I've been in Gaffle now for 5 years, and I've not had the pleasure of teaching all of you, but at some point in the future, I hope that we do get the chance. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. John Georgie, what will be your first movie that you want to introduce to our students?
So you wanted me to choose my three favorite films, which is obviously quite tricky, but I think I've come to the conclusion of three that I think is worth mentioning. And the first film is a film written by Quentin Tarantino, and it was released in 1993, so many of Gafflians, maybe your parents would remember this film, but the film's name is True Romance. And I don't know how to quite describe it. It's typical of a Tarantino movie because it involves multiple stories, but it's basically set or focused on a sort of runaway couple, and they get into a lot of mischief. And something that I find amazing, other than the storyline, is just the extensive list of quality actors, from Christopher Walken, Samuel L. Jackson, Bruce Willis, Brad Pitt. I mean, all of these fantastic actors are in the film, but they're only playing like sort of side roles in the whole film, and it's an immense movie, and it's one of my favorite films, and I highly recommend it. Although I think it might not be for the right age, so maybe after you graduate, I certainly would recommend that you watch.
So it's a comedy movie? Is it what you're saying? Comedy movie?
It is partially comedy, but generally I would say it's more of sort of like a pop culture crime drama, I guess. Um, and so, yeah, it's just, I love the story. The audience connects deeply with the sort of the loving relationship between the two characters, but they get into so much trouble, involving drugs, violence, gangs, and,
Okay, so the title is A True Romance.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the reason why you like the True Romance is because you are a romanticist? Such a romanticist, Mr. John George?
Yes, certainly from a psychoanalytical approach to watching film. As a spectator, I do enjoy watching, people overcome, obstacles in a relationship, and what good film exists without a sort of loving relationship between two characters. So definitely the most masculine portrayal of such a thing. So wouldn't quite call me a typical romanticist, but it's certainly a very action-packed approach to that.
Yeah, I don't know about our capital student, but Samuel Jackson definitely is one of my favorite actor. So maybe I should check out the True Romance.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Christopher Walken and Samuel L. Jackson are my two favorite actors, and they both play hilarious roles to the film. So their addition is very welcomed, I think.
So I thought that Samuel Jackson is more of a like serious actors, but I guess he can also do really good comedies too, huh?
Oh, definitely. He adds comic relief, I think, in a lot of films. Not just, I mean, you might be thinking of Pulp Fiction, which is another Tarantino film that he did write and direct. With True Romance, I think Tarantino didn't really believe in the screenplay, and kind of like passed it on to another director. So Tarantino didn't actually direct True Romance, but it is very much a Tarantino film. So
Okay. Sounds interesting. Maybe, yes, I'll definitely check out the True Romance sometime soon. Then,
yeah.
what will be your second movie, Mr. John Georgie?
The second one is in teaching IB film. It's one of the first films that I show students
Mm.
because everyone knows who Steven Spielberg is, and everyone knows who John Williams
Mm-hmm.
is, the composer. And this was their first film, major film that they did together, and it defined what people now call the summer blockbuster, and it also created its own genre of film, which was the killer shark horror genre. And so 1975, Steven Spielberg's Jaws is
Wow.
absolutely, yeah,
Jaws,
yeah,
1975.
1975, and it still gets people jumpy. It will still scare people.
Hmm.
Um, you know, there's no CGI, there's very little animatronics used that you could probably see in Disneyland or Universal Studios in America.
Hold on. You said no CGs? No CG in Jaws?
Oh, there's no CGI in 1975. I mean, they only used electronically moving sort of puppets, as it were. And so, yeah, you see very little of Jaws actually, but the way that they have this thing called the sort of Steven Spielberg gaze, which you'll see in almost every film that he does, like Jurassic Park, E.T., Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And it's basically when the actors, they look not at the camera, but they look just behind the camera and sort of,
Hmm.
and then John Williams comes in with a great soundtrack, and Jaws was the first example of that.
Hmm.
Because after that, that was the beginning of a beautiful relationship between Spielberg and Williams. Because after that, they did E.T., they did all the Indiana Jones films together, and so it's one of those partnerships that created, the summer blockbuster of Hollywood, and it's always important to show that's how they started.
Hmm.
So,
Aren't you getting like afraid of going to the ocean after you watch Jaws? No,
oh
not
yeah,
at all.
yeah,
Oh yeah.
I can swim in the beach because that part is a little too fictitious. I don't believe that a shark can actually get that close to the beach.
Hmm.
Um, but in the actual ocean, like once or twice, I've jumped off like a fishing boat and gone for a swim, and I immediately feel that horror that was
Oh,
instilled in me at a
really?
very young age from the first Jaws movie. Yeah.
Hmm. This is a little
And
off topic. This is a
mm,
little off topic about place where you're from. Do you have shark or jaws in the beaches and oceans where you're from?
no. If we
No.
did, that shark got seriously lost. I mean, I think once we had a whale. We have some whales,
Wow.
but not sharks. No, nothing
Wow.
in Scotland or the UK resembling a shark, as far as I know.
Wow.
As far as I know.
Maybe
So yeah,
too cold for shark?
definitely. The North Sea is too cold for everyone,
Hmm.
except for whales and seals. But
Hmm.
but yeah, I definitely. The other important thing about Jaws is no one's ever made a decent killer shark film since that.
Hmm.
Shark Nado, I think. They basically become B movies. And so this was the only summer blockbuster Hollywood hit that was a killer shark horror. So they've never replicated the success.
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
Maybe I should check out the jaws
mm,
too,
mm.
and in during the summer.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
I think I saw it only once in a long time ago, and I barely remember. I barely remember. I
Well,
remember the
it's a testament.
original soundtrack. Da dan da dan 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 dan
Yes.
da dan. I
Yeah.
remember original
I think
soundtrack, but
everyone does.
hmm.
Hmm.
Okay, maybe I should check out that one too. Okay, and
Yeah.
last but not least, what will be your third film?
Um, so obviously I had other classics in mind to think about,
Mm-hmm.
but being that it's for our Gafflians as well,
Mm-hmm.
I would say that, and this is like the film geek inside of me, would say, Avengers Endgame.
Oh.
Just this one, absolutely. I mean, I cry. If you don't
Oh,
cry,
wow.
spoiler alert, when Tony Stark dies on the battlefield, if you don't cry, you do not
Oh,
have a
really?
soul, in my opinion, because we followed these characters um, for 18 films, which has never been done in cinema.
Mm.
And so, even though some prominent directors have come out and said Avengers or Marvel movies are not real film, everything is predictable, of course the good guys are going to win in the end, but regardless of that, construct, it's still, it's the end of phase 3 of Marvel, and they've done
Mm.
so well.
Oh.
Where Disney has done so well, Marvel has done so well. And so, yeah, I definitely was one of those people that got excited every time there's like a Marvel movie that came out. I absolutely had to watch
Mm.
these movies in the cinema. I would never ever just, watch it on TV. That would be like the second or third time I watch them. And it sort of, it's for a wide audience. I think children can watch this
Mm-hmm.
quite comfortably. I know my son
Mm-hmm.
can watch Avengers
Oh.
film. He's not having nightmares.
Mm.
Ironically, Jaws, when that movie came out, it had the same 12 rating as Avengers, but nowadays you would never let 12-year-olds watch Jaws. I think it would be too much. That would traumatize them. But yeah, I have a lot of respect for Marvel.
Oh,
The
really?
Russo brothers that
John,
directed them.
you had no idea that Iron Man would die at the end of the movie before you saw the Avengers? You had no idea?
I could have guessed,
Mm.
but no, I didn't know that. I didn't read the comic books actually as a kid, so I didn't read comic books at all as a kid.
Mm.
So I didn't know any of the origin stories or any of that. So everything it was the cinematic experience for me.
Mm.
And of course it ignited, Robert Downey Jr.'s career after his time in incarceration. So, yeah, it was well cast.
Mm.
There's a good part in Endgame that they, there's a moment towards the end where they just use the female cast to carry the Infinity Gauntlet, and I'm so sorry if you've not seen this film, but you should have by now. And it's that chance to show sort of female power, which a lot of action films don't do. They are doing it now. They've been trying to do it since the 90s because obviously women in film, as feminist film theory would challenge, has just been objects of desire. Look at Tarzan. Jane is useless in the jungle, and just like, Tarzan.
Mm.
And so Marvel took that chance to
Yes.
represent women correctly as they are portrayed in today's society. So there's a bit for everyone.
Mm. When Pepper wearing a Iron Man mask and start to fighting with all these female heroes in the movie, it was quite out of blue. I never knew that Pepper was one of those warriors. But yeah, like I said, I could feel that there is some kind of a feminism movement inside the movie, and I guess that is the trend of current movie making nowadays. And honestly speaking, for me, the story and plot of Avengers too complicated. So honestly, I don't understand. I don't understand the story. I know who are the characters. I know some of the strengths and weakness of each characters, but in terms of entire Marvel universe or in terms of Marvel stories, too complicated to follow. So, is there any tips that I can do I have to study the plot or story or?
I mean, you could take 48 hours out of your day and watch 18 movies in a row. There is
Good point.
someone online actually took the time of sequencing every scene in all 18 movies so that it falls in chronological order. Because there's a lot of time travel in a lot of these films, and so it jumps from period, and films that get released are based, in the past. So someone online actually took the time and cut all the scenes up and basically created chronological order. So you could probably find that online and watch it that way. That would be interesting, I think, maybe.
And one of the perspectives that it is difficult for me to understand the movie is because there is not a clear line between a good and evil. In the old movies, there is a good heroes and there is bad villain always. But in Avengers movie, it seems that the line between the good hero and the bad hero is not really clear. So for you, is it working as a attraction, or is it a current trend that making the unclear line between good and evil?
I mean, I think Marvel and DC, they both have a lot of anti-villains. Not necessarily in Endgame, although Loki could be considered an anti-villain. And so there's a few of them. And I think that's good for different character arcs as well. So it makes it interesting. But yeah, obviously, everyone doesn't want to be supporting the same person. So it's good to have a little variety for an audience to be mixed feelings on different characters. Everyone's got a favorite Avenger, I'm sure. I don't really know who mine is. But yeah, I think it's good.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Maybe I should check out Avengers 2 during the summer vacation. And I guess that's it for Mr. John Georgie. Do you have any last comment that you wanna tell to our GAFO student, please, before you go?
I definitely. I mean, be aware. There's so many good films since the 1970s, in my opinion, and I think students should try to watch not just what is in the box office, but a lot of the gems are hidden away. You've got Korean New Wave, which is a cinematic movement, which deals with Marxist theory. I mean, look at Ki Sang-chun or Parasite. But I would say if you're interested in film, I would say look at the theories, and look at some of the commonalities that genres have, and subgenres have, because, art is art. There's no fixed rule to anything, but there are a lot of commonalities. And I think it's fun to draw those comparisons, because regardless of if it's a Korean film, or if it's an American film, a British film, an Indian film, there are some commonalities. And
right.
It's
right.
Some of my favorite, I have so many favorite films. It was really difficult to pick three.
Oh, okay.
I just watched Busan Heng recently. I hadn't seen it. And I thought it was great. I thought it was a great film. Zombies didn't used to run, though. You should know that. Zombies used to just be like slow walking zombies. And then 28 days later came out. Paliohu, I think, I don't know. And that's the first example of the zombies that would run, sprint, faster than humans. And then I think you had World War Z, you had Zombieland, you had Busan Heng, you had, Walking Dead as well. So I think it turned the zombie genre into something so much more ferocious, scary, intimidating, So, I don't know. Come join the film class. I hope that we offer more in GAFL, so that I can extend this knowledge and this appreciation for film to more than just the students that select it in the IB program. So,
okay. So I guess for those of GAFL students who are interested in the movies, I guess you can go and see Mr. John Georgie during his film class, and you will learn more about the movies maybe. Okay,
Yeah,
John, thank you for coming out, and it was a great interview, and I quite learned a lot about the movie. And thank you, and see you. Bye. Thank you for
okay.
coming.
All
Bye.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
Mr. Shin.
Bye. Bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye.